Hello, everyone. Welcome to Finding Solutions Technology. Today, we're going to be covering getters and setters. So, the first thing you want to do is launch your Eclipse IDE, and we're going to be creating a new package here under source. So, the first thing you want to do is either double click or right click on your source folder, go to new, and then package. And we're going to name this getters setters. Okay, going to get your package here, and then in this package, we're just going to create a class, which is just a blueprint of what the objects are going to be. So we're going to say getter, setter. Actually, we're going to name this class teacher catalog. Okay, and then we're going to name. We're going to create another class under getters and setters. So under on the package, you can right click or double click and just go new class, and then we can say test class. We can name it test class. So in our test class, we're going to have our main method. So you can type main and then control space bar, and you want to select the first option here, which is public static void main. This is where we're going to execute the code. And then we're going to go back to teacher catalog, and we're going to give the teacher catalog some details. So every class should have characteristics like attributes and then actual behaviors or functions, right? So we're going to give a string name. We're going to give an int um, approval, and then we're going to give I think that's fine. So we have two variables here, name and approval. Name is of type string, and approval is of type integer. So we're going to essentially create getters and setters for each of the variables here. So we're going to go public void set name, right? And then we're going to open close brackets to this dot name equals name. We're going to say string dot name. Okay. So this keyword is going to refer to the class name or the variable name here, and then name on the right side of the assignment operator is going to equal the name that's entered in the parameters here when this class is called. And then we're going to create the getter here. So public string get name. We're going to return name. Okay. So essentially, the get name is going to return the name value that was set when this class is called in this method. So essentially, you want to set and then get. Okay, let's do the same thing for int approval here. I'm going to say public void set approval. We're going to go int this time. Open close bracket. Then we're going to say this approval equals approval. And the same thing, guys. This keyword, this dot keyword, is referring or associating the approval variable here with the approval variable that was listed in the class up here. And then same thing as previously mentioned, approval here that will be inputted to this method, and the parameters will be associated with this approval and assigned to the class approval. So one thing I do want to go back and show you guys, for this, when I select dot, it gives us access to default methods and variables. So you have your default methods here, and then you have your class instance variables here, instance variables. So use the dot operator, guys, to prompt you with the appropriate selections. Now we're going to go to the next thing, which is get approval. So we're going to say public int get approval, and then we're going to leave it closed, open close, and then we're going to return approval. Okay, so we're going to go to the main method, and we're going to do a system out print line. Print that line. Close that off. The first thing we need to do before we even use the system out print line is actually create an object of teacher catalog. So we're just going to copy that. We're going to say teacher catalog, and then teacher one was new catalog, open close parentheses, and now we have an object that contains the values and characteristics of the called class. So now we're going to say teacher one dot, and we're going to say set name, and we're going to give the teacher one the name of James. Okay, and then we're going to say teacher one get name. Remember, guys, that operator gives you access. So we say get name, and then we're going to not provide any values inside the parameters here because that's not what we initially required when we created the method. And then we're going to say teacher one. Now we're going to get approval. Actually, we're going to get the approval, but remember, we have to set the approval first. So we're going to say teacher one set approval, and we're going to give this teacher an 80 of approval rating. Okay, so now we can actually use the same object, the same class to create a different object, right? So to do that, we're going to say, we can copy this first line here, line 8, and we can say teacher 2. So now we have a new object reference, space here. Nice that. Okay, so now we're going to say same principle, right? We're going to do teacher 2 dot, and then see the available methods. We're going to set the name to Mike, and then we're going to do teacher 2, and we're going to get Mike. Get name for Mike, right? And we're going to do the same thing for approval. Set approval, and we're going to give this teacher a 90 overall approval rating, and then we're going to get the approval. Okay, so now that we have teacher 1 and teacher 2, now we're going to actually print this out to the console. So we're going to do, we can just say teacher. Then we're going to copy the same string for teacher 2, and we're just going to go edit a couple of lines here. Okay, so we're going to execute, we're going to save and then execute this. Teacher's one name is James and approval is 80. Teacher two's name is Mike and approval is 90. So we have this, um, we're missing white space here. So to just fix that, we want to go in and provide a space in front of the and here for both lines. And then we save that and then execute that. Here we go. So that looks a little more better. So now I'll go over this one more time for you guys. So essentially, we reference the catalog, teacher catalog, by creating an object, right? An object reference, and then setting the name James here. When we set the name, it actually goes to the class here where we have the name. It goes into the method, right? It associates this name that we entered here and then assigns it to this name here. And then when we call get name, it essentially gets the name that we set here. So that's what we're returning. And then likewise for the following methods, when we do, when we call set approval by using the dot operator in the test class, we it prompts us to enter an approval rating of type integer. It associates that with the variable on the right by assigning it to this dot approval, which is the instance variable that is created here. And then this approval is able to see that and return the value to the class that is calling it, which is actually the test class here. So same thing happens when we create a different object reference, teacher 2. And essentially, this is how you would create getters and setters. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. If you have any questions on this, please feel free to let us know. And thanks for tuning in.